I've scaled 3 different service-based businesses to 100K a month. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you how in one of those businesses, I closed 7 clients and collected just over 25K in 48 hours. The trap that most people fall into is they think that the reason that the appointments that they're on aren't closing is a sales problem. When in reality, it's mostly a lead nurture issue with a small sales bottleneck. So if you don't know what lead nurture is, it's essentially taking a cold prospect who has no idea who you are to a warm prospect that's ready to buy your product or service.
So ignore my drawing, but it's like a pizza, right?
You're trying to just eat and serve the pizza when it's not ready at all. When instead, just like the pizza, you gotta put the lead in the oven, put it to 450 degrees and let it bake before you try and eat it. So we need to build trust and authority before even talking to the prospect, or they're never gonna close at a high percentage. This is how you're gonna shoot close rate up and show rate up and essentially shoot your business up. So this is the exact way that I nurtured my leads to collect $25,000 in just 48 hours. So the first thing I did is optimize for offers made over booked calls. So essentially on a 3,000 foot overview, what this means is like, I would rather make an offer to somebody, to a qualified prospect, rather than just get somebody booked who doesn't know you, who doesn't care about you, who's not warmed up at all, and who's never gonna close. So for example, this would be a bad calendar. So bad calendar would be, let's say 5 calls, 2 show, 1 offer made, 0 closes. So bad calendar, 5 calls, only 2 show up, 1 offer made and 0 closes. Now in this situation, you'd be pretty happy because you think you have 5 calls, but you end up only taking 1 qualified shown call where you can actually show them your services. So like at the very beginning, it seems all sexy because you have 5 calls. Oh my gosh.
1 in 5, I'm gonna close 1 of those, and that's a 20% close rate, and I'm gonna make $100,000.
Right? But that's not the case because you only make 1 offer, like I said. So that leaves you to have to close this 1 person in order to stay profitable. But an optimized calendar would be, and a calendar that I would much rather have is 3 calls, 3 show, 3 offers made, 1 close. So my point of all this being is if you only have 3 calls a day, you can probably scale to 100K a month. You don't need 8 calls a day, 8 closers. You need to make offers to people that are warm and to people that are ready to buy. And so at times, I would rather just cancel a call because I know that guy's not going to close and spend that time trying to find the next prospect that is going to close. Because at that point, that's a full hour of your time that you're not being paid for, that you're wasting. When that could go into other revenue generating activities, like sending more DMs, calling more leads, finding the next appointment who can be made an offer to. And so like a booked call, right? A booked call may not always be a qualified call. And oftentimes, it's not. And so if that call is not qualified and that call is never in 1,000 years going to close and is not going to be a good fit for what you guys have going on in the program, then why would you take it? Even if you're in the situation where you only have 2 calls a day, if one of them is awful and it's barely in your industry and he doesn't want to spend any money up front, then why would you take that call? Sure, you might get some sales experience, but it's better in that situation to send more DMs, find a way to get more leads rather than just like stressing over this one guy who's never gonna close. We need to think in an area of abundance, right? Money is abundant. And so we can't be just chasing these like few leads around. We need to optimize, like I've been saying this whole time, for offers made rather than booked calls. So even sometimes what I used to do is I would call the prospects and I could tell that they weren't gonna buy, but maybe one day they would, or maybe they just haven't been warmed up enough. Maybe they don't know who I am enough. We would talk, right? Have another conversation. We would send them some content so they would trust us a little more, and then we would book a call out another day. That next day, we will be able to make them an offer. But if we make them an offer today, they're not gonna close, never in 1,000 years. They're gonna say we need to think about it and they're gonna go. I really want to get this in your head that it's more of quality calls than quantity of calls, right? You can have 50 bajillion calls, but they're not even in your niche. They have no money and essentially but you could have 1 call a day of a warm prospect who's ready to buy, who trusts you, and you can close at 80%. The second thing we do, which you hear me talk about all the time, is the pre-call email. So if you could guess, the pre-call email is an email that we send them before the call, right? The purpose of the pre-call is to do 3 things, right? It's to get them to trust us, to get them to respect us, and to build some authority in the industry. Because if you have these things, then the closing call is going to be so much fucking easier. They're gonna respect you. They're not gonna have sales resistance. Really, it's gonna save you so much hassle. So I need you to think about it like this, right? Like Iman or Mosey. Like the people that are hopping on sales calls with Hermosi for like acquisition.com, or Iman with, what is he, Educate? Like these people trust them and see them as such an authority. They aren't getting objections like, I need to think about it. They aren't getting objections like, I need to look through the contract, or can I see a testimonial? They aren't getting those objections. Their show rate is over 80% for a few reasons. People trust them, respect them, and they see them as an authority. And so like these people have spent years and years and years building their audiences and getting to the point that they are today. But the goal of the pre-call email is essentially to get to this point, ideally as close to that point as possibly can without spending 10, 15 years of working on your personal brand. And so like we need to shove testimonials, content, stuff like that in their face if we even want to get close to on these guys' level. Because if you notice the top guys in the industry, why aren't they getting those objections? The reason they aren't is because they're trusted. Like for solar, Prospect Bacon does over 10 mil a year. And the CEO of Prospect Bacon doesn't have any personal brand, he doesn't have any content. But the business itself is trusted within the industry, right? So that's the purpose of the email. So there's two main things we include in here. One is content. What type of content, you may ask? One, long form YouTube. If you're on YouTube and you have long form videos posted on there just giving free value, it does not matter like if you have 1 view, 0 views. If people just click on it, they'll start to binge your videos if you're actually giving value. And so like in the email, we'll send them a link to either a long form YouTube video or a link to the YouTube channel as a whole. And so what this does, people binge it, people watch it, because like you've probably heard me say before, we want somebody to consume 7 hours of content before talking to it. And in that case, if they do, they're ready to make a buying decision without influence. So first, long form YouTube videos. Second is value first assets. So value first assets. So whether that's an objection handling masterclass, or whether that's a script for solar sales, or whatever it is, some sort of doc, script, tutorial, SOP, whatever it is, to give to them completely free so they know that you know what you're talking about. Because if they're just hopping on a call with some random dude and you maybe don't seem the most expertise, if they have those documents, if they have those videos, they're gonna be like,
oh, this dude knows his shit. I saw it already.
And then when you give somebody something for completely free, then they feel more obligated to give back. The last thing is video testimonials. So this would be like a transformation. Like this guy was back here and now he's up here. So let's say roofing. This roofer was only doing like 3 jobs a month. We implemented our system. Now he's here. Some sort of interview situation. Now don't fake this one. Especially do not fake this one. The purpose of all this stuff is to get them to trust us. And if there's anything that doesn't seem genuine, that doesn't seem real, it's gonna do the exact opposite for your business. So don't fake this one. These are all self-explanatory. Include links of all these in the pre-call email. The pre-call email should essentially be a big paragraph introducing yourself and saying you're looking forward to the meeting and giving them access to all these things. So the other thing in the pre-call email is testimonials. Okay, so image testimonials, video testimonials, essentially flood the out of a landing page. We just call it the results wall with a bunch of testimonials. This is obvious.
They're like, oh shit, I've done this before. They know what they're talking about.
So they're gonna inherently trust you in their brain because they've seen people in their exact situation go and do it with you as a solution. Now this is the same as the video testimonials. If you don't have any testimonials, then just don't implement this. This type of stuff will be able to scale you to 30K with long form YouTube and value first assets, which you need no testimonials to do, right? These are just additional. And once you get those clients with the long form, then go get testimonials and put them back in your pre-call. So the last thing we go about implementing, whatever you guys want to call it, sometimes it's called the confirmation call, the triage, pre-call, whatever you want to call it. Call your prospects before their appointment. So essentially, like I said, let's say your appointment with somebody is for tomorrow. Call them today. If they don't answer, call them tonight. If they don't answer, call them tomorrow morning. Get on the phone with them before their appointment. Now, this is gonna do 3 things. First, it's gonna increase show rate. So the reason that it's gonna increase show rate is you're talking to them again. You're having another touch point. And straight up on the call, you're gonna be like,
hey, are you still good to go for our call tomorrow?
Right, you're just gonna ask him. And so like this confirmation call, I've seen literally double people's show rates from 30% to 60%. And so just make sure that every single person you have an appointment with, you wanna get on the phone with them before they have their call. So even if you set an appointment through like DMs, you call them before your appointment. Even if they come through paid ads, you call them before the appointment. So like I said, going to increase the show rate because you're straight up gonna say,
hey John, are we still okay for our call? Are you 100% gonna be showing up for your call?
The second thing is gonna be authority. So authority comes in with respect too. And now what you're gonna say to build some authority on this call, essentially you could say, do you have an hour blocked off with a camera available in a quiet place? And so like, if they don't have an hour blocked off, if they're like gonna be like, oh, I'm on the road, oh this, we're gonna be like, okay, let's reschedule. Because if somebody's driving, if somebody's not paying attention to you at all on the sales call, there's no way they're gonna buy it, right? And so like, we need to build authority, make sure that they have an hour blocked off and they're gonna be there pretty much like taking notes on your sales call. That builds authority. We're not just gonna let them walk all over us. We're not just gonna let them be like,
oh yeah, I'll be in the car with my camera off. Like,
I don't know. Like, I think I've only closed one person ever with their camera off. I mean, to be fair, I always ask them to turn it on. The big thing here, like I was just talking about, is make sure they have an hour blocked off. They're gonna be at a desk. They're gonna be paying attention. They're gonna have a camera available. If not, reschedule the appointment or even fucking cancel it. This is gonna build a lot of respect, because if they're like, oh no, and then you're like, oh, let's reschedule, and then they're like, oh no, let's keep it the same time, you'll be like, okay, yeah, we have to reschedule because we require you to pay attention. That's when you put your foot in the ground. And so authority is gonna be a big thing with this confirmation call. Now, the third thing is gonna be trust. So the third thing you're gonna do on this confirmation call is redirect them to your pre-call email. You're gonna be like, hey man, did you watch the email? Or did you look at the email? And they're probably gonna be like,
yeah, I mean, I looked at it, like,
okay, what'd you look at? So like, dive deep into that a little bit, because everyone's just gonna be like, yeah, oh yeah, I saw it. So like, what'd you see? What'd you like about it? So just ask some questions, make sure that they liked it, see what they actually saw, and if they didn't see something, be like, hey, you should check this out. That'll be really good for your situation. It'll help you close more deals regardless of what we end up doing on tomorrow's call. Building trust, getting them and redirecting them to more content. Oh, check out the Instagram, check out the YouTube, check out this new YouTube video, check out this other YouTube video, check out this other piece of content. And so like, all of this stuff just bundled up into one call that's literally just gonna be like 5 minutes. So in essence, it's gonna be, are we still good to go for our call tomorrow? Making them show up. Authority, do you have an hour blocked off, Zoom available with a camera ready to go? Are you going to be doing anything? Building authority, right? Trust, redirecting to the pre-call email, essentially getting them to watch more content, sending them more short form content, sending them long form content, sending them VSLs. Now, something that I see a lot is,
oh, these guys, these local businesses don't want to watch content.
yes, they do. Yes, they do. Why do you think the biggest guys in every industry have content up? Zane Jan, biggest dude in solar. The lowest ticket he charges is $50K. And he's the biggest guy in solar, and why? Because he has content. And so like, everybody has a phone. Everybody watches YouTube or Instagram, is on some sort of social media, unless they're like 95. And those people are still somewhere. So like, I need you to realize, if you're putting something on the internet, there's somebody there to like it if you're providing value. And so like, this thing with trust is so important with the content. Make sure you have good content, because if your content's shitty, then it's gonna do the opposite effect. The same thing with the testimonials. So like, if somebody books a call and then they see your content and it's just shit, then they're probably not going to want to take their call, and it's probably gonna have the reverse effect. Now, when I mean shit, I don't mean that you have to have some crazy camera production or microphone or whatever. I literally just mean that you need to carry yourself, dress okay, like have decent lighting, talk, and you can just use loom.com if you guys don't know what that is. Share your screen and walk through some sort of document. So if you just do these 3 things, the confirmation call, the pre-call email, and optimizing for offers made rather than book calls, I guarantee you your close rate and show rate will at least double, therefore doubling your business. Ta-da!